this is what it would be, and should we put more time into studying it?
So I'd like to make a comment, if you don't mind.
Please.
Okay. This is a perfect example. You made my case this morning. We've spent 45 minutes with NOACA staff filibustering and telling all the great things that are being done, and I thought you were here to listen. And so I've attended these workshops. I've attended the meetings. My experience has been, and I've communicated this to the staff, and it's fallen on deaf ears. The surveys, the collection devices are biased, they're steered. The data that's collected is based on very small numbers of individuals, and the populations of individuals that are included in the studies and all the various things that are accomplished are very narrow in the population. They're very specific to an area. I can tell you, because I've attended a lot of the meetings, there weren't too many Geauga County people there expressing themselves. But I was with a group last night in Middlefield who were looking at the studies that we've done, the buggy lane studies and so on and so forth, the safety studies, truly significant, having a truly impact on Geauga County citizens. And we're struggling to get those projects funded. And yet we'll take $1.2 million and put it into a recreational bicycle trail when the safety of our folks is at risk. And we won't look at that. Part of the challenge we have is because the mechanisms within NOACA are not established to really listen. There is an agenda, I feel, and maybe it's my perception, but I feel there's an agenda, and the entire staff, the entire organization within NOACA is steering us toward that agenda. And
May I ask what that agenda is, in your opinion?
Well, it is more diversity on transportation. That's maybe great for Cleveland, not so great for Geauga County. In the wintertime, bicycle trails are not really utilized too much in Ohio, and yet we're pushing people towards bicycle trails. This GOhio rideshare, we're putting a pretty face on a failed system. And so we're trying to force people into a system. If people wanted to be able to sign in online and get rides, we'd have a private industry out there selling that to people. But people don't want it. They're not going to want the new program, they didn't want the old program. Rideshare has failed for years. I mean, I'm 66 years old. We started off with carpooling, and then we went to something else, and we went to rideshare. It is a system that repeatedly demonstrates that people don't really want it. There may be a spurt here because we're putting money into it and we're promoting and we're pushing it. But over the long range, this is not really going to resonate with people. Now, there's certain segments. You might go to the Cleveland Clinic and find a population within the clinic that's comfortable with that. But who the heck wants to call up a stranger and get a ride with them? And so I'm saying that to say the point that I'm trying to make is we've tried to communicate over the years. I've tried personally to communicate some ideas and some concepts, but every time we try to do that, those of us who are trying to promote a different approach, there's just a deaf ear to those thoughts and concepts, and it's very frustrating. This whole agenda is being promoted and pulled forward, and I am very suspect that a lot of the underlying data, the underlying ideology that goes into it. We've talked many times about the millennials don't want to drive cars, they want to live in the big city. I'm going to show you all the video I've been collecting about young people who say, what?
Is it statistically significant, your collection of young people?
Well, it's significant to the perspective.
It's not statistically significant, so you've picked and chosen who you want to talk.
But there's a point. I didn't pick and choose. I went into the school and said, I want to know your honest opinion. Just give me your opinion. Now, it's not statistically significant in that I'm not doing a study, but it is a flag. It's an indicator. We say that all millennials want this.
I don't think anyone said that.
And so that's the way it's being promoted. That's what I'm hearing in any case. We stand up and we have in our presentations, not in this particular presentation, that millennials all want to drive cars and live in the big city and take mass transit. Mass transit, which if there was in fact a demand, if Marvin and other individuals say, there's such a demand for mass transit, stand on the corner of Superior and 13th any time of the day and watch the empty buses driving by that corner. If there were demand, you would see people on those buses. They're not on the buses.
The road system is empty 95% of the time.
It's not a true comparison.
The average automobile is empty 95% of the time.
It's not a true comparison.
So it is a true comparison.
It is not a valid comparison.
If
when I take the bus in the morning and it's filled with 45 people, that's 44 vehicles that are not on the road. The purpose of mass transit is to take single occupancy vehicles off the road because they cause congestion.
I don't have problems with congestion in Cleveland, but I mean, I'd love to get into that debate. You and I have had this discussion before, and I'd love to get into that discussion with you because
You actually
that
would love to
your
get
argument,
into it.
yeah, I would, because your argument falls apart.
No, and actually, Bill's going to retire in a couple months, so then you'll be able to have a true conversation with
Let's
Bill,
go- let's go
and Bill won't have to
I
hold
guess we can
back.
talk about that. But the point being is, we don't have real, honest, this kind of discussion. Let's have this real, honest debate and discussion. Get it on the
Commissioner
table,
Claypool,
because we can improve things.
But if I may, we've opened up this discussion for a year. You're suggesting that we are coming here today not wanting to listen to people, but this is the end of the process. For a whole year, we've been listening.
You have not been listening. That's the problem. How many meetings have I attended? And I said, Grace, you've steered
You
this
attended
meeting.
none of these meetings except for the one that we had at IdeaStream. And
May I say something?
please.